Alright, so welcome with free game. It's your host D Loui. We're gonna be talking about a couple of different things. This is going out for like the youth. This video is geared towards young people, young minds, people that are like still trying to figure it out, high school, and people don't realize sometimes how this world work. They may not have a older somebody that can kind of put them up on some free game, how they should be moving, what they should be doing, and what they shouldn't be doing. I feel like the crazy part is what I'm gonna get started with is just talking about a couple of different things that I've seen growing up. When I reflect and make the music that I make, it's based on the mistakes that I've made myself and the mistakes of others. I've seen people make plenty of mistakes, but the worst part is seeing people not self-correct from the mistakes that they have seen, they went through, or they have done. And a lot of times, I always say, sometimes you have people out here and they are geared to put a battery in the backs of young people. So the free game that I'm talking about is saying sometimes you really will have people, they can monetize off your misery, right? They can take your situation, the pain that you're going through, and they will put a battery in your back, no matter if you are a young man or a young woman, and they will make you move off emotion to the point where you lose everything because you crashed out. So a couple of different things that for me personally, the crazy part is growing up, people would have different neighborhoods that they would claim and they would rep. And most of the places, they kind of spread it out. And around 2007, 2008, a lot of Detroit public schools was closing. A lot of people was coming to Oak Park. And we had an influx of people from all different neighborhoods. So people might not truly realize, especially around that time, that you might have people from Persia, you might have people from down. If you don't know where Lafayette is, and there was a group of people we call La Famille, it's downtown. North End is downtown Woodward. Like, you had people from that came from Henry Ford, Evergreen. So same thing with like Seven Tails. So the thing was, you had an influx of different people, right? No matter if they was folk, no matter if they was from Joy Road, because we had a lot of people from Joy Road, Schoolcraft, East Side. It doesn't really truly matter. And it came in one area. And people don't realize sometimes they might bring those same issues from the hood back to the school. So in school, especially when I graduated, like, a lot of people was losing their life to senseless violence, holding on to if it was either gang related or just personal. But a lot of people I went to school with, went and passed on way too young of an age. And I graduated with like a class of like over 500 people. But I will say, when you're in a small area, most of the times your conflicts that you hold on to, you run into the same people. It's a small area. And I always try to tell people, if you don't try to fix the problem before you leave that destination, man, that problem is gonna persist the next time you see that person. So I always try to tell people to move in a way where, if you do get into it with somebody, see if you can rectify the problem right then and there. Like, it used to be a time, especially when I was younger, where you can throw hands with somebody and you got to squabble, figure it out, and then you back to moving and you saying, okay, you got me. Or if you get done and you good. The problem nowadays is that nobody want to take a loss. There's been a problem for a long time. And a lot of people are packing. They was, And I tell people, I'm not trying to put no blame on the actions of a young adult, but most likely what I've seen growing up is a lot of times somebody can get into a fight, but if they're fighting in front of a group of like women, or it might be a girl that you might like or whatever, they don't want to take that loss. It's a different type of loss than if you fought somebody and ain't nobody watching. It's just y'all going head and head. Y'all going back at it, and it's a different feeling. Because sometimes people don't want to take a certain kind of loss in front of others. And it always leads to senseless violence that people come across. And I always say, man, that's a prisoner of the moment type of thing that always happens. That's why I always tell people, when I talk about prisoner of the moment or people moving off emotion, is that no one want to shoot a fair fade. That's what they say. A fair one is like you can throw your hands, have your differences, and then y'all can squash it up and then end it right there. Nowadays, everybody wants to pack something and hold something and have something to prove. And because, it's not even the fact. It used to be that if a woman was in the facility, that you don't want to take a loss. But now it's the fact that if you take a loss on camera, it's going to live and stick with you for the rest of your life. And cyberbullying is real. And the fact that you can't run from the mistakes that you made, people get stuck having to do something extra just because the cameras is out. Everybody's so quick to pull a camera out, and they want to film something. They want to film somebody take a loss. And I'm trying to tell you, like, this generation of people that's coming up, they don't take losses no more because of the camera. And that's why I always say, I'm like, people can sit there and wait for judgment, right? But the reality is, before that day comes, you're going to get judged by your peers before you're going to get judged by God. God is going to come and he's going to judge all of us, pretty much. But peers is going to judge you based off your own personal actions. So like I said, if you don't be the man in that facility and say, hey, if you have a difference, we can take it out back, go somewhere. We don't need the cameras, handle business. It is what it is. But the second you start to move off emotion and say you about to go just because you about to go, then you already got it. Because now it's on the internet. People gonna monetize and make money off your pain and misery. People, like, I'm telling you, like, it's absolutely crazy. And people don't realize that, you can sit on a difference. There's certain people in this world that forgiveness is no longer in their heart, and they will sit on something for like 8 years. And then when that's the saying, when somebody say it's on site, it's on site. I mean, it's 8 years, and they find you at a grocery store, it's on site. And that's the thing. It keeps you when you comfortable. You in a comfortable environment. You probably out there with your family at the grocery store. And they just going back and they like, no, I remember what you did. I know you was a bully, or you did this, and, swung on my little brother or something like that. And because you wasn't the grown man to say, let me self-correct the problems that I made. Let me go to this person like a grown-up and an adult and say, look, man, I was wrong. I made a mistake. I should have never came at you. I should have never came at your loved ones. You got to deal with the cards that's dealt. And yeah, what I'm saying when I say it's a song I put, and I said mortal man is children is being misled by mortal man, because you have people on the internet. It don't matter if it's through music, especially through music nowadays, but things you see on TV, they gonna have you feel like you're invincible. Everybody talking about all the guns they told and all the stuff they got. And the reality of it is, they gonna make you feel like you the only one that got one. And that's just not the reality. That's why I always tell people to simmer down a little bit, man. The way the world is, especially here, everybody bears arms, but that don't mean you need to be toting and glorifying and promoting your stuff. It's just like if you got your CCW, you don't bring it out because you want to put fear in somebody. That's not what that is about. So people that go and they moving and they promote certain things, most likely they put it out there in a way to say like, they are the only ones that have it. And somebody, if they got something, like, you put it out there on the internet. So when something do happen, well, guess what? They gonna come to you. You pretty much put your own evidence. You built your own case up against you. Like FBI or whoever it is, they don't have to build up a case against you at all. Because most of you guys, you're telling yourself. That's to be honest. This is not even a new thing. I mean, Vlad TV has been out for a long time, and I've seen so many people come and do an interview. And I always say sometimes money can make people feel compromised because you have people because they want to get the views, they want to get the likeness, and it seems like only negativity is the only thing that seems to, go viral or do numbers. Like I can go and talk about, scripture, talk about the word, talk about trying to uplift somebody, trying to make sure you're doing what you need to be doing. Working on your mental, working on your physical, your financial, your spiritual, like things that can build you up as a man, so you can be the provider and the leader for your household. And those things, they don't go viral. But do I trip? No, because this is just the way the world is set up. The world is set up for these type of things. Like it's like it's an echo chamber of nonsense. Like I've seen brothers make videos on dating and how you should be courting and how you should be trying to approach a woman, and they try to give you. This is the problem what I see with a lot of things that online. When you're talking about dating, is they'll give you some common sense free game, like sprinkle some truth, but then they'll blind it with the how you should be moving when you actually get into that relationship. And then when you look at their situation, they might not tell you that their situation is different because they might not have an actual traditional marriage. They'll come and promote that they're probably, married and everything is fine, but they're probably open. So they say the things that they say. And I'm like, that's not being truthful. That's the same thing as somebody putting a battery in your back to do something, and you want to move the way somebody else is moving. Like I tell people all the time, I'm gonna keep saying it until I turn blue. If you choose to reflect every single thing in this world, your soul is a reflection of everything that you come across, that you pour into yourself in this world. Everything on the internet, everything that you is at your job, personal relationships. Your soul is a reflection of the world and everything you bring in. But the Holy Spirit is something that you need to choose to reflect, but you got to understand what the Holy Spirit is. You got to read on Matthew and Luke and Peter, and you got to understand the characteristics of what Jesus was doing, so you can start to try to understand and build a relationship so you can reflect the Holy Spirit. So you can move with logic and not moving off emotion, not trying to be following trends. And you can be a man and you can stand on your own instead of trying to follow every individual who wants to have a think piece of what it means to have a solid relationship, what it means to not crash out, not be a prisoner of the moment. So, like I said, too many people don't realize all it takes is a second to say, hey, before you leave that conflict, to see, listen, is you gonna be bygones be bygones? Because if not, tell you that shit might hunt you later on in life. She will catch up on you. And I'm like, you can't afford that. Your family can't afford that because you can be moved on mentally. You can probably be in a good space. And who wants something to come back because the other person didn't choose to grow, but you chose to grow? You moved out of that situation. You're not thinking like that no more. It's the same principle that I see with people who are married in relationships, NBA players, and or any athletes. Normally gotta be NBA players, but the second they get retired, a divorce is coming within a year or 2 years. And it's like the reason is, for one, they grew apart. They don't know the other person. They have no clear idea who they are in a relationship with. So the second they gotta spend most of this time together, one person is probably outgrew the other person. Because when you meet somebody, you don't plan on being stagnant with a mindset, the same mindset. You gotta picture it like this. Most people who are in the NBA, first of all, when you got there, you had a sense of being humbled because you were appreciating and a humbled individual of the situation that you got in. The longer you in it, what happens is you start to build pride that's deep down, and you have a sense of pride about you. And it's not a pride is just saying, I deserve, I deserve, I deserve. But your wife met you off of you being humbled, off of you appreciating the different things that you are blessed to be awarded. And she changes too. She probably was either, look, to be honest, either she could have seen green if she had green eyes, seen the money that was clearly there. If she stuck around for that long, because a career could be 15 years. I mean, you're talking like a LeBron, that can be longer than that. But what I'm saying is, sometimes individuals, they grow apart in a sense, and they feel like I outgrew this person because they change. And sometimes it's the prideful nature that makes people change who they are. Because when you close to retirement, most people who close to retirement, they talk about the things they have accomplished in life. It's multiple stages that I see on a daily, where I see people get to a stage of, oh, I'm humbled because I have a situation where I can work, I can provide for myself, I can be in service to others, I can be useful in this world. And then you have this sense of, okay, now I'm feeling like I'm overworked, feeling like I'm not getting it on my own, because the way the world is set up is about inflation. You can make a decent amount of money, but it don't matter if the price or the worth of a dollar is being diminished. Inflation kicks in. Inflation will multiply times 10, while your raise is only multiplying times 2, like 2%. The math ain't gonna never math out. You never gonna be able to not say get ahead, but stay ahead. That's the difference. It's about, can you get ahead and also and move in a situation where you have stability. That's why I always try to tell people to get you a job that grants you stability. That is a need. I always say you find a void and you try to fill that void. It is plenty careers out there that might be obsolete based on technology, but then there's plenty of careers that is a must, a need, for survival type of need. It can't go nowhere. Those are the jobs that's gonna grant you stability. After you granted stability, then you focus on your hustle. Then hopefully you get you a hustle, you get you a brand, you turn that hustle into something that's gonna grant you money that you ain't even gotta think about. It don't matter if it's saying, hey, I want to go and purchase ATM, I want to go purchase a vending machine. If selling merchandise, I tell you it's a risky deal, especially the fact that all the different things going on with U.S., China, and trade. If we had somebody straight up and you was manufacturing and you built your career based on that, you are you still not independent, because your independence is on a fact. Can U.S. and China make a deal? Like if you getting all your t-shirts, you got a t-shirt company, but all your stuff is being shipped over in wholesale from China. Now you got to go up on a tariff and you got to pay a tax because you want to sell your t-shirts. That's going to affect your debt to income ratio. That's going to affect your like your growth. And what I was saying. That's not liberation. That's not financial liberation. Financial liberation is something that you can put in place. It will grant you money over time, even if it's pennies, nickels, quarters, dollars, depending whatever it is. But once it's done, and it will always give you a second option of making some type of money, so you can actually invest properly. And I always say, find something that is going to move with inflation, not against it. It's plenty of things that will have to move with inflation, because if the prices of gas and the price of and daily living is going up, then the price of that side hustle should also go up as well. Like I said, this is geared to my young men and women out here that's trying to figure it out and trying to get it on their own, because I don't want people to keep being statistic or keep being pulled into this crab in the bucket mentality. Like when I was younger, in my 20s, I was optimistic based on all the different things I would see watching the CES, for technology, all these different things that was coming out that was going to further humanity from the technology perspective. Only thing that got me pessimistic about it is it's not the technology that can be was flawed. It's the ones who create it. Because if their intention is, devilish, then it's never gonna benefit who it needs to benefit. I always say a lot of times people don't realize you can have the clearest answer right there in front of you, but if they don't have regulations to protect the individuals who use that product, then that's how you get stuck with your kids playing with toys and they got lead on the toys. Or you get stuck with FDA and you might not know what's in your food, and they got all these different pesticides, and you realize, they gutted a lot of those regulations, and you don't have a sense of security when you even go to the grocery store, because you don't know what you're consuming. That's why I'm saying business, it don't benefit you if you can't make sure that the customers are going to, you don't have to guarantee safety as much with business. They all about how can I shortcome and make some capital gains and, increase my debt to income ratio and stay above. Because most people in business, they know a lot of times you want to make enough money to where you have enough money that will cover you for 2 quarters. 6 months, you should have, if you make a certain amount of money, if you bringing in like say you brought in cause you gotta report earnings, right? So your income, your debt to income, and you was above over $1 million, and this is for a quarter. But then you want to have 2 quarters in $2 million just sitting, just in case you ever had to go through a drought, because most times you want to give yourself a little bit of leeway, even if you had to cut staff. But what also happens is if you ain't got it, then a lot of times it's a monopoly and they get bought out. They gonna get bought out by the competition. They get bought out by bigger businesses. And then you wonder if it's, is it free trade? Is it free capitalism? And you realize all these small businesses, they get bought out. You never can get ahead. And the more I try to tell people, a lot of times people don't realize the issue with, sometimes people don't realize with Republicans is sometimes they might want less government, but they also want to privatize a lot of the sectors that government used to do for people. And I always tell you, as a person that pay taxes, your taxes ain't gonna go down because they have a smaller government. What happens is You pay more taxes, but it goes specifically for certain things that might not truly benefit yourself. And when they privatize all these different corporations, they privatize the FDA, they privatize a lot of different things that was considered government jobs, you got to realize the government works for the people, right? That's why we have a vote. We have a vote. Your tax dollars is paying to ensure to make sure that those government jobs is going to benefit yourself. So you have a clarity of saying, oh man, yeah, I want make sure my food is clean and processed properly so my kids can eat healthy meals. Make sure that my schools are safe. It's a safe place so where your kids can actually go to school. Make sure that it's no such thing as a soft zone for people who are predators or anybody who wants to do some type of harm to a group of people, because you have police and security and the ones who need to be there, they're there. Like, this is the thing that's crazy. When somebody says they want small government, you gotta realize it's so many different sectors. You can't complain of your mail, your police officers, firefighters. Those are services that you need more money focused in those different areas. But if you privatize a lot of different things, if you privatize those sectors, then they don't have no obligations for what you're paying your taxes for. Any private company can. That's not how things work. If you have a private company, you can't just say, hey, I want your private company to move and operate in this type of way. That company can do whatever they want to do. If they choose not to move the way that you want to move, I'm sorry, homie, that's a you problem. They're a private organization. If somebody say, hey, the government don't want to do FDA and food inspections and check to make sure things is properly made, that's why you have, the crazy part is the fact that you have to have a label that says grass-fed beef. That shouldn't even be a thing. Everything you go to the grocery store and you get should be already grass-fed. You get what I'm saying? Like, that don't make sense to me. I don't know if I'm lost on it, but I'm just saying that should not be a situation to where you should have to argue like, oh, is this grass-fed or not? But it is. And a lot of times people fall victim to it. So, I always say you gotta be careful about certain things because they have no obligations to you. It's just like if you invest into a company, you are an investor, and you don't treat the investments and stocks like it's a casino, because it shouldn't be. When they start to report earnings and they do a call, and you pay attention to what the Fed meetings and PPI numbers and CPI numbers, and when they do a call, you should be listening and seeing what is their plan for the next quarter, the next 2 quarters. What is their strategic plan? Because this is money that you invested because you want the success of the company. Some of these young people nowadays, they see the stock market solely as a come up. And I'm like, you can have ways to where a percentage of your money, okay, you want to make money off of it, but if it's some companies that you truly believe in and you want to seek change and you want them to prosper, you want them to be better as a nation, as a company, then you should be understanding and being on call when they have to report earnings so you can have clarity where they're moving. But that's because you are part ownership of a company. Well, that's how your tax dollars is with the government. Your taxes should guarantee the right to say, hey, I think we should have regulation when it comes down to work environments. I think we should have a respectable hours when we are at work so nobody is working overly worked at 24 hours. That's what the taxes is supposed to guarantee for individuals, because like I said, the government works for you, not you having to just work for the government. The problem where people get mad at is because you do have a lot of people that get stuck in situations where they're only on government assistance. And I tell people, if they privatize that, when you see that nowadays, then you can't determine how um your SNAP benefits is going to pan out for you, or if you're going to get alimony or child support, and how those things are panning out, because that's through a court system. You know, laws change every single time. If you don't pay attention to, midterms or whatever, I always say, if you don't even care what's going on, then don't speak on the things when it happens and you feel a certain kind of way. Because some people might not ever be, um, they don't see voting in the midterms like it's a big old deal. You know, I say, well, cool. Well, if you feel that way, just know you can't speak on certain things later on in life. If it's something that's gonna truly affect you, then you might have to go through a company. That's on you. And if that company say, hey, you get less regulations, but you gotta pay more money for insurance, or you gotta pay more money for this. It's a private organization. It's privatized. And I'm telling you, they got a lot of people. If you privatize the government, man, I don't know what your taxes ain't gonna grant you nothing. Like, ain't nothing you can kind of do. You know? So people gotta truly realize sometimes, when you ask for certain things, the consequences of what you asking for. Because people might not realize it. Leave it up to certain organizations. Like, for real, I always say, NASA was straight through the government, but SpaceX got a lot of different contracts. If SpaceX right now, it's a public, no, I think it's still a private company, but they get a lot of contracts from the government. They could just say, hey, I'm only going to release whatever images that I choose to release. Your tax dollars ain't going towards SpaceX, so it's not considered a part of the government. It has a contract with the government, but it's not considered. They can do whatever they want to do. It's their private company. So I know we kind of went off a little bit and started talking about that, but man, it's just, I just want to see, hopefully, young people learn from the mistakes of others, man. That's all I'm saying. There's no way we live in an informational era and people will grant and use their time to look up degenerate behavior. They will go and look up the craziest stuff that's going to feed you nothing. It's going to feed your soul absolutely nothing. Nothing can, like, and then you always say, man, what did you choose to pour in yourself? Did you find another way to train? Did you try to find another way to understand the Bible and have a good solid breakdown? It was something you were stuck on. It was a way that you can, find clarity from a mental space. Did you find a video on finances, and somehow how you can give yourself a third or fourth kind of income? You want 7 figures, you get 7 forms of income, and if it's passive, even better. But the reality is, you do have a lot of people that will pour into all the craziness, and then you realize the best currency that you waste all the time is time. Time is the currency that you waste all the time, because you in this struggle hold of procrastination and trying to be patient. And because of that, you sit there in limbo, and then things pass you up, and then you stuck in this situation, and you ain't seeing no type of growth happening. You ain't seeing no motion, and it's because you put yourself in that situation. You look back and you're like, oh man, you was playing video games all day. And I'm like, I get it. Sometimes you gotta feel like you need to de-stress, and that's the way you de-stress. But your free will is your free will. You know, I always tell people, like, you have the option to ask to say, hey, God, I want my will, let my will be your will. But what are you willing to give up to say, I want my will to be your will? You still have free will. You have choices. Every single choice is made. It's the same thing of saying, like, you got beef or conflict with somebody, and instead of saying you offering forgiveness and you want to patch it up and say, hey, man, I was probably out of pocket, probably should have never did that, should have moved in that type of direction, you know, and you think it's all good because you was able to walk away that day. I'm like, yo, stuff can come back and get you. You know, and I always tell people, like, you know, the worst feeling is to be somebody who is, there's so many people that's dying to be a social media influencer, somebody who is trying to be the voice of reason. And I always say the worst feeling is you say something that somebody took your words and they moved off of your words, took your words and took it serious, because you have a lot of individuals who might unknowingly can be a sheep, and they made a choice, and because of that choice it put them in a bad situation, and the guilt that somebody probably feels of knowing that your words put somebody in a place where they can't come back from. And that's the part that, you know, you give up. Because I always tell people, like, if you know you made a mistake, you know, if you personally at a one-on-one with no cameras, you tell somebody something, and later on you felt guilty because you had felt conviction that you did something wrong, you can self-correct that person and say, hey, I made a mistake, you know, disregard what I told you. I think you should move this way. I don't think you should move the way I was just telling you. It's a different feeling if you can, like, talk to that individual. But on the internet, it's different. Everybody want to have this form of being a social media influencer. And I'm telling you, like, the internet, once it's on there and somebody see it and they move on your words, young folks crashing out, that guilt, you got to deal with it. And the problem is, you not probably gonna repent or ask for forgiveness or feel a certain kind of way, because it might be too late and that person might be gone. They might have said something and they crashed out and lost their freedom, lost their life, and you can't get that back. That's something that will stick with you, and you living comfortable, not even knowing that, man, repentance or misleading. And I'm like, people get misled all the time. I'm not saying, like, you know, I'm saying for those individuals who say, like, their word is everything. They don't say, hey, this is for entertainment purposes only. You know, this is an opinion. There's a lot of people that will still, you know, crazy stuff on the internet, and they won't say, hey, this is my opinion. This is what I feel like you should reconsider, you should think, you should move with logic, you should sit on it, you should not be so quick to judge. And like I say, man, it's just, you know, it's crazy, but it's like the same thing that be happening over and over again. And people gotta wonder about their own personal things that they go through. Like, life is like a receipt. A receipt of so many different things you have done that you can't even account for. And having faith in Jesus Christ is going to grant you that salvation, but you gotta know him. It's also say he will say he don't know you. You know, it's too many times in the Bible to tell you, like, listen, You can know exactly what is you shouldn't be doing. But if you say, man, I'm not gonna I'm gonna be naive. It's the difference between naive and ignorance. Ignorance is you have no idea of the mistakes you're making until somebody tells you about self-correction, about how you can be better, how you can change, and what you did or what you said is you probably shouldn't do. Naive is saying, man, I know I'm making a mistake, but I'm gonna just turn a blind eye. I'm not gonna pay no attention to it, and it is what it is. So, like, those are things that people gotta, think about. So, young people out here, one, education. Listen to your parents, learn from your parents, learn from the things they're gonna teach you, learn from the mistakes from your parents. I always tell people, you gotta ask for common sense. Sometimes it's okay for you to pray for common sense, just so you can make logical, educated decisions in life. Keep your circle tight. You don't have to be so open. Anytime something goes wrong in your life, you don't have to go and start venting to the internet. The internet is not your friend. The internet will take your words and they will flip it, they will tear it apart, and they will monetize and make money hand over fist. Hand over fist. There's so many people I've seen when something goes wrong, and instead of them saying, hey man, let me just re-strategize, let me try to figure out my situation, let me sit down, write some numbers down, or if it's a relationship situation, they're like, hey, let me just go ahead and get some peace of mind, get some clarity, detox a little bit, find a therapist. Just when you come to the internet, sometimes they're not gonna offer you no roses. It's either people that's gonna be in the same situation that's gonna sympathize with you, and you realize that it's not real love, it's fake love. That's why I always say, man, don't crucify me with fake love. There's so many people that will see your situation of you being down and hurt, and you think that they're gonna relate to it. Like, no, they sympathizing because they might have been in the same situation. There is individuals who will hate if you do find love or you find the person that you're supposed to be with. It's people that was like, man, I don't like the fact you're in a situation like that. And they rather see you as, single and trying to figure it out. And they're like, oh man, I can't believe this happened. They'll show you some fake love. But if you say, hey man, I figured it out, I got out of that situation, you are at peace, you found somebody with you that you can be with, that you can grow with, I think that's the problem too, is that you have to have a mindset to say, man, I want to grow with this person. You don't want to be stagnant. You don't want to be moving in a situation to where one person is growing. Because I'll tell you, the reality of it is people grow apart. Either you can grow together or you can grow apart. And it's about, what you choose to do. You pretty much know the goals you want to work on. You conversate, you talk to that person like, hey, what's the things you're trying to work on? And you can be strategic. You can have a weekly plan and say, okay, you want to do this. These are the goals you're trying to hit. It don't matter if it's you want to cook more, you want to meal prep, you want to go to the gym, you want to get your finances situated, you want to make sure cars running fine, bills is paid, kids taken care of, especially if you got children. Your children is your investment. You pour into them just so you know that investment will pay off. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I think a lot of times, reality TV has taught people to have a selfish mindset when it comes down to, how they see themselves and even with their children. Like, people will put themselves before their own children. And it's like, that's not the reality of how things are supposed to be. You need to make sure and guarantee that your children is going to have the best outcome, the best success. Because they're the ones who is going to come, and whatever you leave behind is going to be given to them. You got to give them all the tools to move around in this world. As an adult, you should know pretty much how this world operates. My pops used to tell me, like, sometimes it pays off to just sit and peep game. Look at how people act around you. You can have people, might be they moving in a way that they feel a little bit too comfortable. That don't mean you gotta move in a way that you feel so comfortable that you do the exact same thing. You will be super naive if you think that all 6, 8, 10 of y'all ain't gonna get fired. Like, there's a lot of people with that mindset, thinking it's better in numbers. Like, oh man, they can't fire all of us. Oh, absolutely they can. Absolutely. Like, I feel like it's been a recession since 2007, and they can always find somebody to replace you as an individual. That's why I say, after you get your stability, your job, 2 years after that, and you mastered what you should be doing, you need to pour into yourself. You need to create options for yourself financially. Plain and simple. You gotta figure it out. You gotta get to it. You gotta be disciplined. And anything you felt that you had a fear of, most people have a fear of something new, something getting into something that is new. One thing I learned is, man, you can work with Gen Zs, millennials, that their job is second nature, because after 2 years, anything can be second nature. Once you know what you're doing and what you're looking for, that job gets a lot easier. But people get they get caught up in this fear. And you got to get out of that fear. Fear should not be existing. Fear is only going to put limitations on you. And that's why, look, I'm not even tripping. One tattoo that I remember when I got this tattoo, and the dude who did the tattoo, at first he was like, he kind of laughed a little bit. But I got a tattoo that says, "Faith keeps me fearless." When I was, young 20s. And this is probably one of my favorite tattoos I have. Because your faith is going to keep you fearless, so you don't put limitations on yourself. A lot of people have these limitations on themselves because either one, comparing and contrast with somebody else. You should be your biggest competition. If you feel like you can only hit 30 push-ups straight or 50 push-ups straight, then the next time you get on that floor, you should be hitting at least 10 more. You are the one that's gonna push yourself to be better. So I think a lot of times competition will put people in a situation where they feel like, they don't want to go to school. They don't want to learn a new trade. They don't want to go and get an HVAC degree or figure out how plumbing or be an electrician, welder, or like go into carpentry. I would say, landscape. Know how to promote, be a promoter. It's so many different ways you can kind of move and try to navigate. And if you choose to go ahead and get a degree, like I said, I work in the healthcare field. As a respiratory therapist, I love my job. I work with neonates. I get a chance to work in cardiopulmonary. I used to get a chance to work in neuro. I work in the ER sometimes, NICU, work in all the ICUs. And you get a chance to see it all, but you also get a chance to be a patient advocate. You get to advocate for your patients so they can have the success that they deserve when they are in the hospital. That's the biggest thing. That's the driving factor. That's what's going to keep you in the career that you're in, because money can be made in other places. It's people that make more money that might be in the plant. People are in the plant making like 40 plus an hour on top of overtime like crazy. But I like the fact of stability and also being in service to others. It's a different feeling. The things you learn, you can't learn nowhere else. And that's the thing that you got to think about. When you pick and choose the field you go in, and you want to go back to school, You know, a lot of people get caught up and they might get a degree that might be obsolete. And it won't hurt to get, like I say, before you make that decision, you know, check a couple of sources, figure out what makes sense. Shadow some people, see if you can actually shadow a couple of different people and get a grasp of what is that job. What do you actually do for that job? I don't know if skill fairs are really big, or like they got I know they have universities and they come up to like high schools, but I think, you know, jobs, corporations should also be making that pitch for the future, you know, kids out there to say, hey man, let me go speak at this high school, and let's tell them what we're all about. Somebody might truly want to go and be an engineer. You know what I'm saying? Want to go into cybersecurity. Want to go into like it's so many different fields that people choose and really don't ever think about. I know people that make a killing off of selling mortgages. That's a void. Most people don't have 100,000 just sitting in their bank account. But what they need a mortgage so they can get the house that they need. It's a loan. But if you selling mortgages, guess what? You can make a percentage. If it's 12% off of a mortgage on a house that's worth $300,000, that 12% is gonna probably get you a couple $1,000 just for making a sale that somebody needs in the first place. They need to go to somebody who's gonna give them a mortgage in the first place. So that's why I say, you know, make it make sense. You know, when you really get into your field, people don't realize you sign terms and agreements, contracts all the time. But the one thing that people don't fail to do, because they might not have a lawyer or they probably not think of it, is that you should draw up a contract for yourself of what you should be doing and what you should tolerate, but also a contract for who you plan on doing business with, so you know your negotiables and what you're not going to negotiate with. Plain and simple. So many people so willfully want to sign a contract and then they don't even understand that you could have put things in place what your demands is working in a field. For women, it could be a simple demand because most companies should already have in place that sexual assault or sexual harassment shouldn't be allowed in the workplace. But it should be also noted that you should have something to say, hey, I don't want to be taken advantage financially either. I don't want to be stuck in a situation where my bills, my rent, and all these things is going up, and my insurance, and I'm only getting this amount, so I'm under inflation. I'm always under inflation. Plain and simple. Like, you know, I always say you gotta try to think outside of the box. Until you can work for yourself, you are a reflection of the job you work for. Remember that. Young people out here, I've seen people, they go work for somebody, they crash out, they damage the place that they're working at, they're moving off emotion, they kind of like, and I'm like, look, your social footprint is just as can be as toxic as you messing up on your LinkedIn. People don't correlate those two. Like, you work up a resume. The resume is supposed to be all of your accolades, all the things that you have accomplished and made you who you are. If you go on social media and your footprint on social media is crazy, like, I know people post certain things, and I get it, you know, we all was young, but like, if it's crazy, like you constantly are putting yourself in a hole, then you have to realize every other company will see that, and yes, they will cast judgment based on if they will hire you or not, based on a social media post that you're posting, because you are supposed to be a representation of that company. Plain and simple. It's so simple. Unless you say, I want to go into business for myself, I want to make sure I can make a footprint going into business for myself, then you have to operate in a situation in a way where you are looking out in the best interest of that company as well. Same thing when you get married. You get married, guess what? You should be a reflection of your wife. Your wife should be a reflection of you. Everybody says, hey, you gotta be the one to lead. But I always say this too. I'm not about to be moving in a certain way that's gonna be ignorant or a way that's gonna be disrespectful towards my wife. Because when I step outside, I am a reflection of her. I demand the exact same from her. Plain and simple. When she walks outside and I'm not around, she needs to know that she's a reflection of me. If those two things don't never come across, then like I said, that's when either you grow together, you grow apart. But young people, you gotta realize that. You gotta realize that as well. That y'all need to be a reflection of each other. Get on the same chord. You want the best for that individual, and as much as you pour into her, she should be pouring into you. A lot of times I will go through, and especially when we go to work, like I'm pouring into, if I came across a Bible verse, if I came across a video that was feeding the mind and the soul and the spirit, I'm going to pour that into my wife. She's gonna get the same free game that I just came across. And it's not to say I'm gonna pour something that's like a I'm not gonna be a person that trauma dump, or they gonna be pouring something that you can't, sustain or grow something from. Yeah, am I goofy? Absolutely. I might say some jokes here and there, but a lot of times I want the best out of a situation. I want the best for that individual. So what I choose to pour into is you gotta be strategic in the way you move. Plain and simple. That's supposed to be your better half. People gotta realize, people they don't talk about the sacrifices much. And like I said, it's a willful sacrifice that people make when they are truly in a relationship. The same ones for the young people out there, the same ones that put batteries in your back, is the same ones that's going around glorifying the dating culture of just keep on dating. Keep on spinning the wheel until you figure it out and you find what you're looking for. Instead of saying, all right, let me see what I got. Let me see what I'm working with. Let me see if I can actually make something happen. But the person that you're working with, they also got to try to make things happen. If it ain't there, if the person ain't really working, they not even trying to make a change, then yeah, you gotta move on. You can't be stuck in a situation and there's no progress, because that person can pull you down and lead you astray. But you have to have you don't want to have this culture, where people is always telling you it's like a fast food culture when it comes down to relationships. Everybody choosing to date, and they want people to be in a circle of dating individuals. And I'm like, man, that's how you have situations that happen in Houston, Texas, or you have situations happen in Atlanta, and all these places where you have a group of people. They go on these spring breaks and they wonder why the STD rate is at the highest that it is. It's because people don't know when to slow down. They chasing trends. They always trying to figure out. It's like it's crazy. And I'm not trying to be somebody to try to shun or shame an individual. I want self-correction. When I put out music, the music that you're hearing now, right? Most of the music I try to put out is for those who need self-correction. It's not about trying to put somebody under. It's the fact that I want you to be a better person. I want you to be the best you can be. I want you to maximize whoever you are in life. I need you to be 1,000% that individual. Live within your purpose. A lot of people might be living in the shadows of somebody else's dream. They seen a celebrity do something, so now they doing it. And that's what I'm saying. You need to live within your purpose. You need to figure out what you was sent here to do. And that's just the reality. You know, I'm telling you, like I truly hope and believe that, young minds, young people can figure it out and they can have self-correction. So that promise of meekness, the meek shall inherit the earth, can come into fruition. That can only come into fruition if self-correction has already been established. If people have already made it clear that they want to live with purpose. They don't want to keep chasing the trends of celebrities and people, millionaires, billionaires, people who cannot relate to you. Most of those individuals, they already pedestalize themselves. They're gonna treat you about self-idolization, pedestalize themselves. They put themselves on a pedestal. They don't have a humbled bone in their body. They don't know a day of missing a meal feels like. They don't know what their stomach touching them. They don't know what that means. And I always tell you, the reason why you have a lot of people in our generation, fall victim. I say we fall victim to like King's disease. King's disease, if you ever heard of it, it's like basically it's like, some people that get because of gluttony, you can have liver failure, kidney failure, obesity, and it's because we live in a society where they give you abundance. Back in the day, you didn't have access to an abundance like kings had access to an abundance. They can always get seconds, thirds, and fourths. And a lot of times people used to plan their meals out. And what was going on is what you realize is people back in the day would intermittently fast. They would unknowingly intermittently fast. And just like when you go through and you look at the book of Exodus, you start to realize Moses went through a forced fast because he had to get away from Egypt because he murdered a man. He killed someone because they were abusing other heathens, his people. And like those situations where you give your body a break, it's a true detox. I'll tell people, like, some people might be diabetic, so you can intermittent fast. Choose to eat one meal a day, and you might not be able to do it every day. You might can do it every other day. But you're giving your pancreas a rest. Like all the things, like sugar is broken down from a metabolistic standpoint the exact same way alcohol is. So it works your kidneys, your liver, your pancreas, and it takes 6 months for to reverse something. Like, this is the thing. This is what I'm telling you. Like, you have the grace of a Dr. Sebi that came around and gave you the free game on how you should be moving, how you should be living, how you can get yourself back healthy. The game is already there. Dr. Sebi came. Look at Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle was another one that gave you the game of how you can see value within yourself, and because you see value in yourself and you move with confidence, he was selling his mixtapes for $100, and they was selling out because he seen the value in the game that he was giving. It was the mindset. Dr. Sebi, with everything he was saying, like, it comes with discipline. And what I'm saying is, like, you can pick and choose what you want to pour into yourself. Just know when you pour something that is beneficial to yourself, you're gonna reflect that on the loved ones around you. If you pour toxicity into yourself, you're gonna reflect toxicity and toxic traits to the ones around you. So if somebody that you bumping heads, you get into disagreement, they don't offer you peace, and then it might be because you didn't offer them peace. But also, you gotta realize you can get to a point where you are offering them peace, but the person you're dealing with, they're in a situation at work that they're not receiving peace. So when they come home from work, then they're reflecting all that hate, all that bitterness, all that, on you, because they're allowing all this different toxic stuff to pour into them while they're at work. And then you get the grunt of all the toxic traits and all the stuff they want to vent and they want to dump on you. And you like, hold on, wait. I'm not even ready for all this. And they dumping on you. And he's like, yo, this is all this toxic stuff. It's things I'm not even ready for. And as y'all start to reflect each other, and it's just toxicity reflecting toxicity. So, I always say, you gotta be conscientious about what you choose to bring in. That's just the reality. I always say, you gotta look at the friends of you gotta look at the friends of your loved ones and who they keep around them. You be like, dang man, why he still doing the same shit? You know what I'm saying? And then you look at the circle and you like, oh, because his circle is the same. You got the same like-minded people around him, and they pushing you to do the same shit every single time. And you can't find yourself getting out of that situation because that's just how it is. They're gonna feel like it's another crab. It's a crab in a bucket mentality. They feel like they don't owe you nothing. They don't, they don't want to see you progress and proceed to better yourself. And I think it's a healthy thing to do, to ask yourself, what do you exactly want? Like, what is your goals? What exactly do you want? And are you working towards trying to get and hit those goals? It's a healthy conversation. There's nothing wrong with it. I think hopefully people feel like the free game I'm giving them is going to help somebody. They can kind of get some clarity in how they should be moving. I always tell people, life is short. People got this mindset. That's that. What's it called? The mindset of immortal mindset. And the reality of that immortal mindset is that life is short. And because of it so short, like people don't pay no mind to it. They would just straight up think that it is what it is. Like live forever. I always say like, no, the goal is you can leave something that everlasting on those you come in contact with, so you can actually help somebody get through it. So you can pour into somebody as much as somebody poured into you, as God poured into you can be able to pour in others. You bless somebody else, and one day somebody might bless your children. Even if you might not receive that blessing back yourself, but your children might get blessed. And it's kind of like I said, it's hard to move and do those things in the world we live in. But you gotta realize the world we live in. Definitely gonna be trying to do this more often, probably every weekend if I can. And I'm gonna be talking about a lot of different topics, but mainly, like I said, the purpose of free game and talking about the certain topics that I'm talking about is just, I want to see people exercise positive options and don't get caught up and something that's going to set them back. Don't get caught up in the struggles of, moving off emotion, crashing out, and doing something you don't regret, or following people online that don't have your interest, your best interest. That's the truth. Don't be a byproduct of living within somebody else's shadow. You living within somebody else's dream. Somebody else is becoming a millionaire, a billionaire. You just there for the ride. Like, that's not how you should be moving. So, with that being said, I'm about to. I have to talk a little bit sports because yes, I ain't from the mitten. And I gotta talk about my Detroit Pistons. So they play tomorrow, play Sunday, Game 7 in Detroit. I ain't gonna lie. I did not know that they were gonna come out and do what they did in Cleveland, just because it was an away game. They seen how they played before. The rotations was different. I love seeing the fact that they had like 3 shooters out there at one point. I mean, I was like, you giving Cade all the options for doing it. You got Marcus Sasser, you got Dennis Jenkins, you got I think they had Duncan Robinson. They had Cade. Cade was like a 3. Duncan Robinson. What was he? I think he had a 4. Dennis Jenkins was playing like a point guard, and Marcus Sasser was playing a shooting guard, and they had Paul Reed as your center. I agree. Like, you can't just keep a star out, but if you got to, if you play where it's options, like you got so many options on offense, like I trust that Cade is gonna play good defense regardless of who is out there with him. Paul Reed is gonna make hustle plays regardless of who else is out there with him. I trust that Duncan Robinson is gonna be playing solid defense. He's gonna put them hands up. He's gonna contest. Like that's the things that I always say. I was just like, man, the rotations, the talent is there. We just gotta make sure you stay consistent with the rotations and have the people out there. And I love what I seen. Didn't see too much of Ron Holland. He came in the fourth quarter. But he's another guy that can give you solid energy, and he can go at and frustrate the other players on the opposite team, get them in foul trouble. And that's the things you gotta look about. You gotta look at. And he ain't scared to shoot. I like how aggressive Asar was. The fact that he got ejected in a playoff game, I'm like, man, brother, listen, that's what it's all about. That means you playing your heart out. You playing with good effort. You doing the little things. Yes, they got eyes on you. They're gonna try to call every little thing. Do I agree with the last foul? No. But you came here, you made your presence felt, and you played playoff basketball. I think Tobias had a quiet night, but it was fine because everybody else stepped up. Duncan Robinson, I didn't know how much Duncan Robinson was missed, on top of having Kevin Huerter back. Man, those was players that you need because how much they stretched the floor. Like, Duncan Robinson was hitting threes early in the game to the point where they had to guard him. They can't just leave him open. I think Paul Reed hit a 3-pointer when he was in there. He said, "Hey, you gonna give it to me? I'm gonna take it." And I'm like, yo, he could probably get one off at least once a game, because they're not gonna be trying to guard him at the key. Now, look, I like Jalen Duren. I think he's solid. I think the playoffs is kind of exposing a little bit. He got to work on his offense a little bit better. Get him a good solid post game. Get him a hook shot. He's been looking at these fadeaway jumpers. I kind of wish he didn't have to take a fadeaway jumper, just go straight up, hit a mid range. This is a playoff game for a young player that's like 20 years old. Nobody should be tripping and going so hard. I've seen the memes, people going crazy. They put his face on, like, other people's faces on him, and I'm like, show some grace. He is learning at 20 years old. This is still a young team. This is still a we wasn't ready for them to do what they're doing at this moment type of team. So it's not like we out the window. We got people that's under not even under full contract. They're still on a rookie deal. Keep that in mind. And they're starters. Starters with a rookie deal. Like, well, what are we talking about? So I always say, whatever they can give us this year, take it as solid, good experience. It is nothing to hold your head down at. Do I think they're gonna win tomorrow? Absolutely. The way they play, the rotations, and we was dealing with injuries. I think Jalen Duran rolled his ankle. I think Asar rolled his ankle at one point. It was somebody else too, but they played through it. I think I like seeing the fact that you need to have Cade off ball a little bit more. Like, yes, he can be a playmaker, he can drive it up, but him playing off ball, he brings you the more effort on defense because he ain't got to worry and struggle fighting off two defenders. Find him where he needs to be, kick the ball to him, but let him play off ball a little bit. Let somebody else be a playmaker, and he can be somebody who all he got to do is get into a spot. Plain and simple. That was a simple adjustment that I like. James Harden was saying his threes. I always still feel like you gotta look at what is their Achilles, and I will say that they all play pretty good from a clear standpoint. It's just they couldn't get nothing going. They were trying to go for certain fouls. They wasn't getting the calls. I still feel like James Harden, if I had to call somebody the Achilles, it probably would be James Harden, because we know what he's going to do because he's always done it. And we've learned you ain't got to super contest every little shot. And because he's trying his hardest to draw a foul, he can't sell it the way he used to. Like, people peep game on how he is as an individual, and they know how to counter that. Now, I will say, like I said, the East is clear. I still, like, if the Pistons get past here, I think we definitely gonna get past New York. We see what New York is doing. They're blowing out teams. But they're doing it off the playing cat, looking like a point guard, playing at the top of the key. They gotta respect it because he can shoot. But the reality of it is, you need to have somebody at the top of the key moving those feet with him. So, I'm ready for the matchup. I'm ready for the whole matchup, man. The West is gonna be different though. I don't know between OKC and San Antonio. Like, these teams are like, it's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. San Antonio seem a little flawed. Like, they got, they do have some issues that they gotta work out. But OKC is just going off, making things look easy. And the crazy part is, OKC has they already have a Victor Wembanyama with Chet. Chet is like damn near 7. He's like 7'4", 7'3", and he can shoot, play make. Like, it's gonna be a crazy Western Conference. I feel like Western Conference might be, I don't even know, man. But when it comes down to the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference, man, I don't know if anybody out the East, including my Detroit Pistons, can come out. It's gonna be an uphill battle. Dealing with Wemby, I think we gonna be able to figure it out, but it's gonna be how we play and who we choose to play. It's not gonna be how we doing what we doing right now in the Eastern Conference. You're gonna have to make some changes with who you put out there, because whoever's gonna guard them, they're gonna need some help, or it's just gonna be a blowout. And you're gonna catch yourself drowning, and it's gonna be too late. So, same thing. I feel like with OKC, that's a fast team. It's gonna be interesting. It's a fast team. People can shoot. They know their positions. They know what they need to be doing. But this is gonna be a year where they not gonna be able to keep that team together either. So you gotta realize this is where you see up close of who you might want to pull and want to bring to Detroit, because they can't pay everybody. This is gonna be a year where they're gonna have to move off some people. So hopefully we paying attention to everything. Personally, if they don't choose to move somebody up, I really feel like they need a solid point guard that can be next to K, that's gonna get his bucket. Or like if they don't want to move Dennis Jenkins up, or I feel like a power forward. Like I like Tobias. I like everything that Tobias have done. But in the long term of things, I feel like we gotta make sure you got some help for Doran. Doran needs some help. Like I think Tobias is about 6'8". Doran needs some help, especially what we learned in that Orlando series. When you got multiple bigs, people like 6'10", like 3 people that's 6'10", you can't box out everybody. They're gonna switch on you, and you're gonna run into the same mistakes. So I'm hoping they figure it out. I'm hoping that they kind of know the path that they're trying to go in, and we're gonna see from there. You know, like I said, game is tomorrow. That being said, I'm about to get off of here. Probably try to work out. Get a quick workout in. Call it a night. Be productive. You know, I will be trying to do some. I'm gonna try to do some video reactions, but I'm gonna try to be conscientious of the video reactions I'm gonna get into. So, like I said, hopefully it's gonna be something that where you can find some growth, some purpose, and just nothing that's gonna like poison your mind, pretty much. So, that being said, peace.